are here with another episode of The Journey with Brandon Thomas. I got my man in the building, Norman Towns. So basically, this is an appreciation podcast. I take a moment to holler at my friends while they're in the middle of their journey. A lot of times we're on this journey, and when you get to some super high level or when people deem you worthy, they appreciate you or they ask you how you got here. So this podcast is about meeting people where they are in their actual journey. Where you have made it to at this moment is fantastic, and we want to talk about it. Norman Towns, the first question for this podcast, every podcast starts this way, and it's just a little something that folks want to know. What are the three greatest moments of your life?
The three greatest moments of my life? Oh, man. You came with the heat, huh? The three greatest moments of my life.
Thought I wasn't going to throw you the ball.
I know, huh? I guess the first greatest moment of my life was when I was in the 6th grade and I won the Boys and Girls Club championship for basketball, like in basketball, won the championship. That was a great moment in my life. The second greatest moment of my life was, a lot of it has to do with sports, but the second greatest moment of my life, I guess would have to be when I moved to LA. That was like one of the greatest moments of my life. And the other greatest moment of my life, 3, would be when, third greatest moment, I'm pretty sure people have a lot of great moments in their life, but I came through. I got it out the mud, brother. Hey, there's things that I appreciate, but I'm like, during the time, I was like, glorifying. A lot of it was like I had a lot of great basketball moments.
Right. So
a lot of great sports moments, but sports was more so my outlet. So like I had a lot of great sports moments.
Why are you disqualifying them as like great moments or like the greatest moment?
Because I sometimes I feel like life is bigger than sports. So sometimes when I'm talking about sports, it just seems like my greatest moments wasn't necessarily, and sometimes I'm looking at the greatest moments, like during that time, this was like a great moment. Right. So I think that's why I'm kind of contributing it more to sports than anything, because I'm looking at like the moment, like, oh, this is great. When I did stand up, the first time I did stand up, those are some of the greatest moments I've
had. Absolutely. I've done stand up before and I had a really great moment. I completely understand that. I also have bombed like no other. So I know that when it's good, it's so good, right?
Yeah, you ain't lying. I've taken L's.
Oh my goodness. I took an L one day that was Louisville, like big L's, like, you know what I mean? Like,
woo. I'm taking L's in a lot of areas of life, though. Yeah, somebody was like, man, ain't nobody taking as many L's as you, but that's why you succeed, though, man. I'm taking L's. I've got beat up over my enemies, but I'm taking some L's. I was like, man, why did I do this? I'm like, bro, I'm taking some L's, but like, that's why I think I've done so well. So people that really know me be like, it's like, dog. I see Norman get jumped for no reason. Hey, y'all should be doing this. Who is this nigga? I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm taking so many L's, but you know what? That's what happens. You become a wise person when you go through a lot of stuff in life, bro. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
At what point did you get to that realization? Like, obviously, when you're like downtrodden, when things are going bad, and then you come out of them, at what point do you realize, like, man, some of those losses really helped me to get to where I am?
You know what's crazy is, in honesty, all L's help you get to where you are. And I think when you lose, that's when you find a lot of things out. Not even just about yourself, but about other things. It's like if I own a casino and you come in and beat me over and over and over and win money off my casino, I'm going to be looking at you like the most, you know, I'm gonna be like, who is this? Like, how are you winning? You know, because I'm losing. So I think sometimes it's good when you lose because you can figure out how to win, or you can see what someone else is doing and you can be like, okay, they're cheating, or wow, this person's really good, but you get to see a lot. But I think one thing that's always helped me within my life is I I never really had a lot of fear. In every game, there's a loss with anything you do, you know?
Right.
So even in certain areas like that has helped me, and in certain areas like it's hurt me. But I've kind of always moved like it was my last day.
One thing I think that people, when they see you on the outside, right, or people that know you like via the internet, like you're a super funny guy, right?
Yeah.
But what people don't know, and I think you'll never get the credit for, is you are, in my opinion, such a learner.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, that it's like crazy. Like, I think that you retain a lot of information, and I think that you have really gone far to get a bunch of information to help you succeed. And I'm just kind of curious, like, where does that come from? And also, do you see yourself that way?
Yeah, I think I do. It's funny because my mom would say the same thing. Like she was like, I don't know how you remember stuff you remember, and I don't know how like you're able to like retain so much information. Um, so I agree with you, you know, and it's crazy because we're taught to be so humble, you know. So it's like nah, but like in a world of honesty, sometimes I've always been very very like a curious person. But I remember like even as a kid, I asked a million questions and almost it would be like annoying, but I would always like want to like I was always curious to like understanding something. Like even the truth, like even having like a deep conversation, I can have really deep conversations because I operate in that world, you know. So it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to have conversations, but I was always like curious to understand things. I'm like very much a truth seeker, and
Right.
I love like I love learning, but that's just because I'm very honest with myself. And that's why like I was just telling whatever I was talking to, that genius is being the closest to what you already are. That's
Mm.
why somebody is like a math genius, or because they're doing math, you know, or somebody, you know, is a genius in certain areas because that's something that you already have. So I think we all have certain gifts, but like I just kind of I've always lived in my gift without being influenced by somebody else, you
Mm.
know, because I'd always ask a lot of questions and like most people it'd be like, yo, stop asking questions, and they're like, oh, I can't ask that. Da, da, da. But I was always like, nah, I'm gonna still ask anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like even at church, they was like, this kid, you know what I'm saying? I remember the youth pastor was like, yo, man, you gotta chill. I was always like, wait a minute, wait. When you said, so wait, what do you mean the waters were separated? Was there water up here and what? They was like, dude. I was that kid, and people thought I was being funny, and I was more so like, what does this mean? And
Right.
it's like, so like I was always like, I never let like somebody on the outside kind of affect how I felt about something or if I wanted to know something, because I was like, dude, I gotta know. Like, I don't care if you like if y'all is upset at me, sorry, but like I gotta know what this is, you know?
Right. Look, that's dope. And I think that that is a translation. I think it translates to your style of comedy
Yeah.
because you're like, what is like universally funny, your stuff is just right here. But because it is right here, it is so funny because it's just different. You know what I mean? Where most everybody's like, this is funny, this is funny. And you
Yeah.
just bring it from just a different perspective. It's just right outside. And it's refreshingly funny. Where when I'm watching some of that stuff, I'm like, oh, this boy's off the chain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know what regular funny is. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so he's not exactly in the regular space. And because of that, it's why it's funny. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those freedoms allow you to be a different kind of funny and really stand out.
Yeah.
Um, how do you like, like how does that come about? Like how do you think to make a masterclass video about being a crossing guard?
Oh yeah, because like it's crazy because like I'm very, without tooting my horn, like I think a lot, right? So like I'm an intelligent person just by my nature, right? Because I'm always like thinking. Um, and what I do sometimes is like I see the comedy in a lot of things, and I'm very sarcastic. I'm like extremely sarcastic. So that's always been like my funny. So a lot of times when I fail at being funny because I'm trying to be other people's funny, and it's like,
Mm,
oh, but I was always like, oh wow, like I was always like 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 I've always thought like this, what? Like that's always been like my funny, like if I'm with my friends and we see something, I've always been funny because I'm just like, they could tell that I'm like already thought like past that, and I'm just like, this is like what? So every time whenever I look at something in my head, I always think how like I'm like, this is either slow or funny, or it's funny because of this.
right.
So instead of like having these conversations with my friends and they like, dog, Norman, you're hilarious. I just figured out how to, like, my thought process was like, how do I translate what I'm thinking to the screen? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
how do I like get that message off in this platform?
100%.
So a lot of times I'd watch something, right? So like say I'd watch master classes, right? And I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I just started seeing how master classes started going to like a whole nother round where it was like Cheryl Stone teaches interior design. And they're like, and right? So I'm just like, this is what the fuck? But people are looking at me like, what are you laughing at, Norman? And I'm just like, you know what? Never mind. And I'm looking at like everybody and their mama make a master class about pizza rolls and putting together puzzles. And it's just like, I'm like, yo, this is like, all right, like maybe this isn't crazy, but come on now.
Right.
Like masterclass on like putting up lights. I'm like, what?
Um,
Everyone changes the light bulbs. And it's just like, so like my thought process is like, because I'm laughing at this and people are just looking at someone do a masterclass and they're like, Norman, what are you laughing at? And I'm just like, and then when I like how I do my comedy is once I show it, then it's like I see what you're laughing at,
right.
like how they're just maximizing and making money off of master classes, and they just so my thought process is like that, and then I just say, okay, you might as well make a master class off of anything. Shoot, like anybody could do that.
Right.
So that's what I kind of like do. Even like that beer commercial, right? I did that Sammy Adams. It was like, dude, I'm watching people like make toast and have a serious conversation over beer. And I'm like, dude, nobody is really. So like, I'm looking at these commercials and it's like, we having this deep conversation and this sentimental thing about freaking Dr. Pepper. I'm like, dude, nobody's like thinking about their grandma before they buy a Dr. Pepper. Like, that's just not happening. You know what I'm saying? Grandma always said 32 flavors of Dr. Pepper. But I'm thinking this stuff while I'm watching it. So I was like, dude, I gotta just start making fun of the things that I think is funny, and then other people will start saying like, I see why you thought that was funny.
100%. And I think I don't fully think it is people saying, oh, I see why you think it's funny, but I think it is the refreshingness of something different.
Yeah.
People are just trying to get in. This is just funny, and this will pass is funny, and it's just like a little half smirk, a little cheek lift, and that's good enough. You know what I mean? But it's like it's just slightly off. And I think that's why like vulgar jokes always work. A dick joke always works because it's right outside of where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just like those little things, and
like little nuances, huh? It's like the little things, right?
It's like, just understanding like comedy in a different way.
Yeah.
So boom, you're coming off a Insecure appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, little episodes, little plural episodes.
It's a little BJ.
As a brother in the grind, how does that happen? Tell me the journey. How do you get it out of the mud in that sense?
Oh, like as far as like the acting stuff goes, or as far as what the comedy, or
as far as the acting stuff goes, like is acting your goal? Like what's your passion?
Man, so I love creating. Projects is my passion, right? So I major in business and art. So like creating is like a big thing for me.
Well, you majored in business and art, or
Yeah,
business and art?
business and art, and
Like,
minored in communications.
oh, so you wait, so it's like a double major, or they had a?
Doubled up, baby.
Okay, I was about to say, how?
Big double, man.
Exclusive.
Big double. But I just love projects. Like if it's a project, like I I could get fulfillment off of any project. You ask me to paint the room, I get fulfillment. So like my fulfillment is basically like projects, and I think that's what like I love more than anything. If you go down to the core of it, right, is like anything that's a project, like creating something. It kind of fuels me in a way that like someone wouldn't necessarily, some people don't really understand, because like I had a conversation with one of my friends, like, you're passionate about, like, are you really passionate? And it was like, where do you feel like fulfilled? And my fulfillment is like creating, starting and finishing something. That's a fulfillment for me. Like I feel so fulfilled.
Right.
It doesn't have, but that's like the reason why I do so much, where they be like, oh, you did this, right? Because I'm fulfilling that in everything I'm doing. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if I'm doing a meal, I'm starting and finishing. If I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But it's just, I'm fulfilling that itch or that niche or that thing that I have in everything I do. And it feels so good. So I like acting is very, like, I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about basketball. I'm very passionate about that journey. But like, I come to terms with like doing a project and finishing it was probably the most fulfilling thing. That any project is so fulfilling.
Totally.
But my journey to LA was crazy, whether it was like getting into like acting is something I want to do, but I just jumped on a bus and came to LA. I walked from downtown LA to the beach. That don't even sound real, right?
No.
I know. Like, I'm like, what?
Wow. It just off of like, what, you were just like, I just want to pursue it, or I just need to get out of Arizona?
You know, well, both my parents are from Alabama. We were born in LA. Was born in Los Angeles. Parents met in LA, and born in South Central. It was pretty bad. So we moved to Arizona. Dad took me and my sister and stuff to Arizona to have kids, to have a family, better life. But my parents never really cared about me going to school and stuff. Not even basketball. Like, my mom's here. She like, even when I played basketball, I was like, boy, you better put that ball down and get a job. So like, I literally was forced to have a job like ever since I was 16. Like, bro, I've had every job. And I'm not making this up. Like, I've worked at every fast food chain. I've worked at like literally, like, because my mom would give me a job and I'd somehow like get fired or quit. And then she'd find out and I had to get another job. I've had 4 or 5 jobs at once. I was like, this is crazy. I'm washing cars. I'm working the night shift at Target. Me and Roberto is in the back of Target laughing. I don't even know what he's saying. I'm learning Spanish. I'm like, mucho trabajo. I'm like, how you know Spanish? I was like, man, I worked in every warehouse. I worked at the taco truck. I fix cell phones. Dude, it's crazy. But it's like, I've had literally every job you could think of. And when I came back home from college, I graduated. And I remember I got my little brother a scholarship there. We played basketball. And when I graduated, nobody was there at my graduation. So I'm sitting here eating food with my little brother at my graduation. And I come home from where I transferred. So I finished in Montana. And my mom got me this job at Costco. And she was really excited. Yeah, so like, to go to Costco. She's like, talk to the manager. You're going to be good at Costco. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Mom, I got degrees. I ain't supposed to be working at Costco. And my mom was so happy for me to get a job at Costco. And I called one of my friends, Matt Bowles, who I'm still close to this day. I'm his kid's godfather. And I said, yo, man, I just need $30 to jump on this bus. There's this bus. Nobody speak English on this bus, but I know a little bit of Spanish because I've been around a lot of Spanish people, right? So that's like, because I'm like that, right? I'm like a weirdo, whatever. But like, so I jumped on this bus and they were speaking You know, I was cheering, having a good time, and I got off in downtown LA and just started walking. Went to a hotel.
Right.
I went to a hotel. Like I went to a hotel to use the internet, got on Facebook, hit up different people on Facebook. There's this guy that I hired at the cell phone repair shop because I became the manager in the summer at the cell phone repair shop, right? Because it's a project. I like fixing things, right?
Yeah.
So I hit him up, named Kendrick Sugars, who's selling shoes and stuff. And I said, hey man, I'm out here. I don't have no place to stay. I go to Holiday Inns or whatever to eat breakfast in the morning, pretending like I stay there. I jump on the internet. I don't have no phone book. Can I stay on your couch or something? And he was like, hey man, like I can't have you fucking on my couch, but you can sleep on my floor. So I was like, bro, really? I was like, really? Question mark. And he was like, nigga, normal times you sleep on the floor. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? I said, bro, I just need, like, trust me, something told me to come out here. Like, I was like, I prayed about coming to LA. So just told me I always wanted to get into acting. That's something I was always passionate about. So I ended up sleeping on this floor. And that's how I started. But it's funny because, like, so many people like ask me like crazy questions. They be like, man, how do you know all the bus routes? I was like, bro, I had to take every bus. You know what I'm saying? I had to take every bus. I fell asleep on so many bus stops. I know every bus stop. I know every, like, so people are always like, dude, how do you know this? And it's just like, I literally started off from ground zero. But like, the crazy thing about that too is like when you start off from the bottom, it's like you really don't have nothing to lose. You get what I'm saying? It's like that mentality kind of stuck with me in a lot of ways, where it was like, when you really don't have nothing to lose, you're really not scared of anything. Cause it's like, I'm not scared to talk to nobody. I'm not scared to like, and I've also like had little odd end jobs out here where I worked at Gelson's. I was passing out samples. So like that fear of, and I think that like you, when we were talking about earlier, it's like certain losses contribute to wins. It's like by me valeting cars and doing all types of like weird jobs, I became somewhat selfless to where I was already like, bro, I'm at the bottom. But it's funny because I don't look like that. So like when I move, it's kind of weird because they like, dog, you don't look like you act. I was like, man, look, I've been in security. I've been every little, like I've done it all. Right. To the point because, my mom made me work all these jobs. So it was like, I was so used to not being like just serving ice cream and doing all types of stuff to where like I was comfortable not being the center of attention. But it's funny because I kind of stand out because sometimes I look like I'm more the center because of my energy, but like I'm really so used to like playing in, like cleaning the floors and like laughing and washing dishes. I washed dishes for a long time. You know what I'm saying? At Sushi Roku, like I was the man at washing dishes. I used to wear a chef's coat. They used to be like, are you the chef? I was like, yeah, I'm just washing dishes because, I used to call myself an aqua engineer. I was up there just killing it. Yeah, bro, I was in there killing it. But like I've had all these like odd end jobs from the jump. Right. So I think like because of that, I was able to learn a whole lot. I've been around a lot of different people, man. But it's always been because I've been, at servant jobs. I've had,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I think that makes sense. I think the humility is like the thing, you know what I mean? Because if you're able to even work those, the multitude of jobs like that the selflessness is there.
Oh man, how I got on my feet quick is because so my phone cut off because I couldn't pay my phone bill. Mind you, I had no bread, right? And I'm sleeping on my friend's floor, and I was like, man, I gotta go get on food stamps. So I went to go get on food stamps, and I applied for like the pilot program, the GR program. I used to take the bus at Skid Row to different churches, and there was this guy that I met on the bus, and he was like, bro, I do this everywhere. He's a dude from Detroit. His name was Malcolm, but Malcolm was like, this is what I do. I go different places and I get on food stamps, unemployment. They got the GR relief. They got the pilot program where they give you $800. They got a hotel voucher. He's like, that's what you should do. So like I'm on the bus going to church, right? Because I would go to Skid Row, just jump on the bus, go to Skid Row, jump on the bus to go to church just so I could get like food and stuff like that.
Right.
And he put me on game. So I remember like I didn't do it, but it was getting rough. So I did it. I went and got up food stamps. I did the GR stuff. And it was crazy because there was this lady that was arguing in the place, but she had a perfect face. I've never seen a perfect face to this day. Like, I can't make this up. Like, when I say perfect face, she was cussing and arguing, but like not a blemish on her face. Like, I've never seen nothing like that. And I was looking at her, I was like, that's crazy. So I'm chilling, right? And mind you, I'm hungry, right? Because like that, I ain't ate. Like, I'm like, I remember, I don't think I ate, and I might be exaggerating, but it felt like 5 days. Honestly, it might have been 2, but it felt like 5. Like, and I was like, man, I ain't got no food. The person, my friend Kendrick, who I was staying with, I was sleeping on his floor. He ain't had no food, right? So he's, you know, like, it was just horrible. But so I ended up, that lady tapped me on my shoulder, and I looked up, and she was like, God told me to give this to you. And I looked at her, I was like, this is crazy, because like, one, I kind of felt like, out of all the homeless people in here, like, you gonna give it to me? Like, do I look that bad? Like, am I really, like, right. So I took that, and I went to go get some food, and I got everything I wanted. I got a cheesecake, I got some pizza, I got just everything you can name, right? And this guy came out there and started talking to me. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm kind of struggling. I don't know, I'm out here, I'm just eating. And he was like, man, you eating fast. And I was like, yeah. And I just kind of told him like my situation. He's like, man, you need a job. He's like, do you have a degree? I said, psh, say no more. I said, but he was like, yeah, well, I get you a job at UCLA at the hospital because my son works there. I ain't know this dude, so I was like, all right, that's cool. So I ended up getting that job over there, took the bus over there. I showered in the Ralph's over there. I took some clothes, that I took from Ross. and I ended up going there. The person that was supposed to hire me wasn't there, but the other person, the lady that was there, ended up hiring me. I got a job at UCLA as an administrator. I was able to get on my feet. And then after 8 months, Pops, what happened after 8 months of me working at the hospital?
So you got laid off, right?
Laid off. The day I got my apartment, I got an apartment. My mom and dad helped me clean it up. That same day we was furnishing an apartment. What happened, Dad? I'm doing an interview.
You were saying about your all kind of stuff.
Yep. And what happened?
Yep.
You eating. Fired me, man. Right? They up there putting together the TV stand, the couch. My mama said she's so proud of me. You got a good job. I went to work. They said, you might come in the office? I said, for sure. They said, hey, we don't have to let you go. I thought it was a joke. Cause like I was like, man, you're hilarious, right? Cause I'm the funny guy at work. They was like, we just gonna have to let you go. And they knew my parents are at my place helping like put together my apartment and everything.
Right.
And they said, we have to let you go. I thought it was a joke. So I'm looking at this dude, like, I know this is a joke. He says, listen, we're going to have to call security. And I said, ha, ha, ha. I was like, I know y'all playing with me. I said, Scott, stop playing with your boy. Next thing you know, these security guards come through. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. He said, come on. They escorted me out of that hospital. I sat in my car for about 5 hours.
Oh, my God.
I said, uh-oh. Can you imagine, bro, starting from scratch with no place? The day you get your apartment is the day bro, I was like, man, how am I going to pay my rent?
Right.
It was the worst.
Wow.
True story.
That's insane. How do you get into the industry?
So when I got laid off, I was the funniest guy at UCLA. Ask anybody there, I know this to this day. I was funny. And I worked in the psychiatric ward, right? So I was funny on a whole other level. This is true. I was administrator of the psychiatric ward. So like all the kids, all the celebrities would come, and I would be having them dying. I'm up here making the patients laugh. I'm up here making all the doctors laugh, right? And mind you, I'm a young guy. I'm thinking I'm hilarious, but it's also coming off unprofessional, right? So like, that's why
That's the comedy.
it's coming off so unprofessional. But I'm thinking I'm killing them on a daily basis. I'm like, man, I got these people. I got knee slappers from parents and doctors and family members. These people right thinking I'm trying to get my own show. Everybody like, man, you need to do acting. So that goes back to when they fired me. I thought it was a joke because I was so funny.
Right.
So I thought he was being funny with me, right? So apparently he wasn't being funny with me, and I got fired. But there was a place called Bruco that did stand-up, right in Westwood. So after my shift, because I didn't have a car, so I would be walking and stuff. My dad brought out this old car one day. It was the best day of my life. That probably was the best day of my life. The third one, that was the best day. You remember that, Dad?
Yep.
The blue Gardena. It was a little. Tell what kind of car it was. The Hyundai Accent.
Hyundai Accent.
Hey, 2000. It was a 2000 Hyundai Accent. I got off of work because I would take the bus everywhere, so I had no car. My dad and my Uncle John pulled up. It was the best day of my life. I drove this old beat up car like it was a Bentley. Windows, all the windows down. It was the best day of my life. You understand? Like I got off of work. My dad and my Uncle John pulled up. Best day of my life.
Like absolutely, I definitely used to.
You remember that? I said, oh, that was. But so because I would walk everywhere, right? I would walk to like the comedy spot. It was right next to the thing, and I would just watch the comedians. Sometimes I would sign my name up, but I would never get up. But I would watch. So that day I got laid off, instead of going home, I walked and did stand-up comedy. Yeah, and I was funny. I killed it. I had so much on my mind. I was like, man, I ain't got shit. Like, y'all think y'all having a bad day.
Right.
You know, this is the first and only time I've ever heard my mom say she was proud of me. I was like, oh my God, I made it. Like, she's like, my son got a job, got an apartment. And mind you, I got an apartment in the hood. So it's not, like, I'm on 111th in Vermont. I'm in the worst place ever, right? But, yeah, but that's how I transitioned and got into comedy and stand-up.
Wow.
That was the day. That's why I say, like, the biggest days when you say your life changed, that was like a game changer for me. Cause yeah, it was like it's crazy how like the crazy thing about all this stuff though, B, is it all happened just like there is no like, oh, well, you know, I chilled here. Like literally I went from just sleeping on different people's couches to sleeping on the floor of one of my friends to getting a job, right, to getting laid off.
Right.
To that day got an apartment. My dad brought out an old car. He bought for like $400-500 to like all that just happened just like that. Right. And then I started doing comedy and yeah, it's like even looking back now, I'm like I don't like half of me is like, I don't know what I was thinking. And the other half is like, I can't make that up. Like, I can't make that up. Like, I'm like, man, this is a book.
No.
I'm like a real life Forrest Gump, bro. Like, I'm like, this is like ridiculous. Like, I was like, oh, yeah.
That feels.
Go ahead, you lead it. I feel like I'm talking too much.
No. It's great. It is great because I think that a lot of times when people see us online and when people see us like doing these or having these accomplishments, like there isn't like a transparent Instagram where it's like your real Instagram and then this your Instagram are like, man, today was jacked up. You know what I mean? So people obsess and build what is life and what is like the struggle over your Instagram. And a sad day is, oh, I didn't feel like posting today. Sorry, I haven't posted in a couple of days. But the real sad days is like, again, when everything goes left. And I think that a lot of people that are in the industry and like, as we're like, you know, climbing this ladder, like I completely understand your story. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I remember. I'll take that and I'll raise you. You know what I mean? Whereas like we all have this like common struggle, but we don't. But there's no real place to talk about it without sounding like, oh, look at me, or like, and here's a GoFundMe. You know what I mean? Like there's no place to be kind of transparent about the story. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, that's really what this is for.
You're right. It's like, because sometimes it's like a highlight reel, right? Even we only show the things that look the glamorous to us in our lives. You know, it's like even people's, like something so small as like Instagram. There's people that don't get enough likes on their picture and they delete it, you know, or archive it, right?
Yeah.
But in life, there's certain things that we try to archive or try to delete, and it kind of help make us who we are. But people that are following us don't necessarily look at everything that we've been through to be where we are. You only see the success. And that's what it goes to everything. It's like you only see what you gain, you never see it what you lose. But in order for you to gain something, you have to lose something, whether it's relationships, whether it's, because like I've heard people's stories before, and I'm not saying mine is the worst, and I'm pretty sure people have crazier stories, but it's like when I hear people's stories, I see the common thread. And when I hear someone, like I've heard, like I had a conversation with my friend, he's like, man, I was sleeping in my car. And then like I was like, damn, that's so dope. And he was like, what? And in my head, I was just like, man, I wish I would have had a car. Like, you know what I'm saying? In my head, I'm like, bro, you had a car? You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow. Like, bro, what I wouldn't have given to have a vehicle. Like, bro, I literally was walking with a backpack and like every bus route, like, bro, like I was just like, man. So it's like when my dad brought that car, like, you know, after working at the hospital for like, 7 months, because that second month I got fired. When my dad brought that old beat up car, bro, that was like a game changer for me. I was like, wow.
100%, dog. I used to take the bus from Hollywood to downtown, then take the train. Oh, no. Well, it would depend. But in most cases, I would take a 2-hour bus to Orange County because that's where my job was when I moved from OC to LA. So I would take a 2-hour bus ride from LA to Orange County to work 2 hours to then take 2 hours back if I got cut early at work. But because my manager would give me the schedule that I wanted in terms of flexibility, I only worked days. If I had an audition, he would let me go. I was like, well, I can't really leave this thing. And I was like, dog, I'm doing 4 hours on the bus every day to work 5 hours. Like, this is crazy. Wow. So I would have a 9-hour day to only make money for 5 of those hours.
Man.
You know what I mean? So like,
that shit gives me like, you know, it's crazy because it's like, you know, we could talk, like this shit kind of gets me emotional, to be honest with you, because it's like I remember sitting on the bus once and I thought that was like I was like, man, I'll never get out of this. Like I remember like looking, I think J.R. Smith drove past me and was waiting at the light, and I remember I looked up and I was like this, and he was like but like for some reason I was like, man, that's crazy that we both play basketball. And he was driving around, and I was like, I'm on a bus right now, and this dude is in a Range Rover with a Colorado license plate, and I'm just like, man, like I was like, dude, will this ever change? But something in me believed in myself. Something in me believed that things would be different. But I remember feeling like that, like, man, I was like, whew.
I completely agree. And the thing, and I think the part that I really relate with you on is I didn't look the part. You know what I mean? So it's
like playing that position.
As low as I got, nobody assumed that I was that low.
Like, this is
I wasn't gonna let you know.
Yeah, you stayed you. You stayed who you were. You always had a good personality. You always are vibrant. You always light up the room. You've always made people feel special. That's just like what you are.
And I appreciate that, but I was broke. And I was sitting, and look, and I used to, look, man, we might just have to have a little Starbucks session because I'll have you rolling.
Wow.
I used to, like, literally, I was held down by my friends. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my mom, she lived in Rancho, so it wasn't really conducive to go back home type of deal. So when I tell you that my friends held me down, it was even some friends that they didn't even know they was holding me down, but they were, because I knew what I had to do to survive. So I'm like, wow, look at you holding me down. You don't even know it. I had to do this. So it's just crazy, like the sacrifices that you have to make to be here, and the sacrifice that you have to make to achieve your goals, you know, because boy, J. Cole has a song called Cost Me a Lot.
It cost me a lot.
When I tell you, I used to put that joint on. I used to go on the bus like, cost me a lot, just one of them days.
Right, bro. Music helped me big time too. I listen to every. I wish it would rain. I would listen to like Motown and like Shoe Shine Boy by Eddie Kendrick when I was walking. I was like, man. But you know what though? It's crazy, because like I was always a hustler though. I was always gonna get it. Like I would sell like fake Louis bags, fake Louis. Like I was always like getting it, bro. Like I never stopped. Like bro, I had a million. Like bro, I'm literally like. But I've always been like that though too. I've always been like, yo, I'm gonna find a way to make it. Like I'm gonna find a way to get some bread. Like
I'm gonna sort this
it was
out.
crazy. So like, yeah, it was just.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you. This is my top secret. George Benson on Broadway. I used to put that on. Oh my! Hey, just put that on and think back to your struggle and play that song. And that song, you're gonna be like, "Oh, he understood."
Get it to
I know.
All right, I listen to that.
I know that he was in the trap too.
Dang.
Yeah. So you're working. Life is transitioning on you every which way. You get into the comedy. And then like, how do you know, because me and you, we met on a set for a Nike commercial.
We did.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like, so how do you transition into entertainment? So you just start doing comedy and then things just kind of start sticking, or?
Well, nah, not at all. I started doing comedy, but like I think we're both very good. Like we're both people. Like we're good with people. You know, we're people. Like people. You have like an incredible, like you have a likability that not a lot of people have. You know, and you know that. You know what I'm saying? Like you know your gifts. You know, you go in and you light up a room, or you know, people know you and respect you like crazy. You know, like, and there's a lot of people that really don't have that. Like, you know, you see people with a lot of followers and you get around them in person and it's like they're not as likable. And then you have people that super likable, might not have like a billion followers, but like in real life, they can maneuver like you see it with comedy. I know some of the funniest people in the world. They get on stage and it's like, and then you see some people that on stage are beast. I'm talking about like gods. And then you start talking to them afterwards and they just like my anxiety, and you're like, yo, how did this guy just crush it up here? And then you get behind, like you go to the green room, and this dude could barely look you in the eye and have a conversation. You like, what is the world? So like, you know, measuring something by what it is a gift in itself, because sometimes we look at how it should be instead of looking what it is, you know. Yeah. And
wow, that's a bar.
Yeah, so I kind of my transition was I started doing stand-up, and then I started writing for people because I kind of, like I said, by me doing a lot of things in the background, I'm so comfortable not being in front. I'm very comfortable not being in front, like almost to the point where I'm like, yo, you go, B, you know, and I feel almost better. You know, some people would like say go in the front, but they don't. They really ultimately deep down want to be in the front, but they just like go in the front just to be nice. My shit was like, I'm so used to doing stuff for other people that it was almost like I'm comfortable like writing jokes for you, or I'm comfortable, you know, helping out with sketches for you, you know. And it's crazy because I have a large body of work that I've helped other people do. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done a lot, B. Done a lot, and to the point where it's no shade or anything, but it's like I'm comfortable helping somebody and I like it. And sometimes, you have to, it's definitely a skill to learn how to help yourself. And like they say, even in the Bible, it's like love your neighbor as you love yourself. But sometimes we forget to love ourselves.
Mm.
Sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves so that way we can take care of other people. So a lot of the things that like we say when we talk about wins and losses is like by me doing things for other people or behind the scenes or like helping people write and punch up stuff and doing it ultimately helped me be better at my craft as well. What I want to do. So now when I want to present something or do something, it's like, man, it's good, but it's like I've been doing it. I just haven't been doing things for myself. You get what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So I started like writing comedy stuff because I was kind of scared to like keep getting up, and I bombed more. Man, I've taken beatings, like almost like get out of there, Rock. Like I'm taking like hits left and right, man. But I'm taking like a lot of beatings, but I just kept getting up. And after that, I started like I would do stuff like I would jump on LA Casting. I would submit for everything. I would crash auditions, crash all the auditions. We don't see your name. They must have made a mistake. Sometimes they let me go. Sometimes they didn't, but I've crashed them all. I've emailed everybody. I've emailed everybody my headshot. I don't think there is one rep or company that I've never sent out like, hey, I have no credits. This is my face. Like I've took pictures on the BlackBerry to the like sending. And looking back now, I'm just like, dude, what? But like literally, bro, like there's nothing like if somebody was to like dig, like learn stuff about Norman, they'd be like, yo, this is crazy. Like this dude was like hitting up, Michael Bay, hey, you guys need help. Like I just like, bro, there was no limits, but like, but you know what I got that from is because I remember when I would watch Made back in the day, and all the people that were successful, they were just hungry. Like they was like Pink would just show up. Pink would just, or Missy Elliott would just send letters to Michael Jackson. So like I think because of that old show, I adopted that mentality where it was like, just do it. Like who cares? You know what I'm saying? And like who cares? Like the worst they could do is tell you no. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, maybe I should have been a little more calculated with that. But but like you said, you learn from all that stuff and you grow. And I wasn't scared to fail because, when you don't have anything, you can only go up. So I feel like sometimes it's even easier to attack from that because I noticed the more that I've acquired, the more I'm kind of like, now I have something, I can't lose it. Right. So like my mentality changes because now it's like, dang, I don't want to lose this. Right. But if you don't even have that, you like, fuck, I have nothing to lose. What can you do? I'm still on the bus. What can you do to me? So I have noticed that, but like my transition, bro, like just to get into like the acting and stuff, there's so like, that's why I usually don't have a lot of conversations with politics because so much is into this world to where it's like, once everything I thought about Hollywood and entertainment is so much different than once I got in it. You see what I'm saying? So like, that's why I explain to people when they start talking to me about politics is like, it's different being on the outside than being in it. Right? Because then you probably know things that other people don't know. And then you like, man, or you see how things are and you see people that you see are successful. And then you hang around and you like, man, you're really depressed or you're really hurt or there's things that you had to overcome or go through or do. But it's just like the closer you are to it, the more you see it. And then you can be like, oh, okay, I don't know if I want to, because I know some people that are extremely talented and extremely gifted, and sometimes they're not where they want to be, and sometimes it's things. I'm not saying this is like, I don't want this to be misconstrued, but sometimes there's things that we don't necessarily see. You see what I'm saying? There's things that go on that you might not necessarily see, or you might not necessarily know, or you don't know the whole story to something, So, it's one of those things to where it's like, it's not a black and white thing. There's a lot that goes into. There's people that I know so talented that don't have no agent, don't have no manager, and then there's people that are, you know, they might not be that talented, but they have everything you got in the book, or they got, they got an uncle over here to help. It's just there's so much that goes into the entertainment world. But I'm not saying that. It's probably the same thing for lawyers. Like, you could go and have the best degree and have no job, and then you can have somebody who, their uncle worked for so and now but it's just everything is pretty much the same.
I tell people all the time, they complain about politics. I say, you only complain about politics when they're not working in your favor. When you are in the politics are lit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you in it, you in it. But like when you out it, you like, and it's funny because it's like there's been times like I've been on both ends of so much. Like even in basketball, there's been times where I could show up whenever I wanted to, and it was cool. But there was one time where it was like I'm barely late, and they like, no, and I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, I'm no longer that guy. I'm not the man anymore. Like I can't. This treatment isn't the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, okay, I must, But you're right. It's like, but you know what? Like even being self-aware of something and understanding what it is gives you the advantage, because even there's certain people on the other ends of politics, and it's like, sometimes you don't want to say it because it's in your favor, but like deep down, you know what it is. Like, and that's what being aware of the situation, it has power. Just being aware of things gives you an advantage. A lot of people aren't aware.
Okay, so your life is a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
This chapter is called what?
This chapter is called Transition. Transition.
Care to expound?
Yeah, it is a transitioning, because with every gain there's loss. On one end, there's so many things that are going well, and then at the other end, there's so many things that aren't going so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm in Arizona. I've been in Arizona for like 2 months. I found out that my dad has cancer. He has pancreatic cancer, which is an aggressive cancer. And it's one of those things where it's like I'm transitioning from, just as far as like my journey in LA, the growth, and dealing with, things that are family related, things that are career related, trying to figure out like the balance of that. But also like everything happens for, I won't say necessarily, like everything happens for a reason. And when you come to a crossroads, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing, we're constantly learning. And it's one of those things where it's like the evolution of the unknown is what I'm transitioning into.
And I think not necessarily accepting the unknown, because I think that's a lot easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just kind of like just seeing things as they are instead of how they should be. I think that's where that correlates, because you're just kind of like, look, you don't know, like you can't prepare. You know what I mean? This is something that you have to live. And I think that's like a lot more of life than we're willing to accept.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. Because it's hard to accept like the truth and the reality. So that's a hard pill to swallow.
Because you're in a battle for control. You know what I mean? You're in a battle for like trying to be ahead of something, or at least know something, or feel like you have a grasp of something when it could change in a day.
Mm-hmm. And that's why like like even I look back and even going forward, it's like they say the more sand that is escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we see through it. So the more like we start seeing clear as more sand escapes. But it's just one of those times where I realize it's a beautiful journey, and life is, you want to fill it with experiences, not necessarily things. Because even looking back at certain things, like those experiences is what I'll cherish for the rest of my life. You know, whether like the relationships I met on the bus, when my dad came and got me a car when I was walking every day, like in some instances, like having an old beat up car and stuff, right, was like one of the highlights of my life. And the reason why is because I was walking in in like, especially some rough areas. Like I have a lot of stories, but in the end of the day, all we are is a story, and it's almost like what we like, they say what you do echoes in eternity, but it's just like just leaving a stamp, being an honorable man, being a good son, a good brother, one day a good father, but it's just like just leaving a mark on this world is a very big thing, because it's like, sooner or later, it's like, do you know your 10th grandpa?
Yeah.
You know what he was like?
Right.
No, like I don't know my 5th grandpa. I don't know the name of my 4th grade. Like I don't know that, right? So
Right.
it's like all that stuff is erased, but what we have is us. So it's like our marks and our steps and our stamps that we leave on the world. It's the story that I'll be able to tell. That's why, like, even podcasting and this journey is so important, because you could record this and you could document this down to where it's like my future generations can see, like, oh wow, like, I can overcome something too, and that's like what I've been looking at lately is like we gain knowledge and we gain understanding. We go through things so that we can help other people out. The reason why even this podcast is so unique is because you're doing something to where you can help somebody else out, because they only see you only see the finished product,
Right.
and you don't land on top of a mountain. You have to climb. Like
Yeah.
you don't, it's no matter what you do, like there's none of this stuff is handed to you. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
even however you get it, you go through something, right? So I just think that those, like the knowledge that we acquired lately, just like my revelation is like some of the knowledge that I've acquired and things that I've learned around my journey is meant to be shared. It's not just meant for me to go through, but it's meant for me to help somebody to where they probably don't have to go through that. Like this is what you, because I know if I had somebody that was like, this is what you do if you want to get into this, or this is how I would have been like, oh, what? I had no idea. Like, what do you, but I'm also like, I ask a lot, like I try to find out with everything I'm like, how, like what, to the point where it's like, I'm going to figure it out. But it's just like, I do that to, we're meant to share. We're meant to help. That's why we're here. We're meant to give. We're meant to help someone that doesn't go through the struggles that you went to, but could understand it, so.
100%. And what's funny is I normally ask people like for that like last word, like their closing statement type of deal, and that will be yours 1,000%.
Oh, yeah.
My question is also, and I think that sharing this could be super, or just collaborating on this idea. But in those down times, what kept you from being a down person? You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times, especially in LA, people get into down times, and that's when they go home, or that's when they get into drugs, or that's when they get into alcohol, or that's when they get into, alternative lifestyles. And that can mean a million things in LA, trust me. But it's like, what kept the bad stuff that was happening to you, negative experiences, from getting inside?
I stay busy, right? Like I really do. I really do a lot. And I fill myself with projects, and it might, on one end, it's like you do a lot, right? Like I told you, it's a yin and a yang with everything we do. So
Right.
one end, it's like, I could play pool, I play ping pong, I'm like good at a lot of games, but I also feel that's filling voids for me, so that way I don't have to necessarily feel. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm constantly doing something so that I don't necessarily have to feel, because our nature is one thing, right? And what we do with our nature is another. you know, because you could have somebody that has an addictive personality and they do drugs all day, and then you could have someone that has addictive personality and they swole and they in the gym, or
Right.
they own businesses. So it's just
Right.
taking that nature and putting it into a healthy environment, right? But it's all the same nature.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So my nature was always moving. Like it was always moving. Like and on one end, it's almost like there's people that kind of admire it. They're like, dog, you always doing something, bro. Like, how do you move off of 3 hours sleep? You doing this and this. But it's also like those sometimes like slowing down makes me like feel something or feel that journey or experience it, right?
Yeah.
Where now I'm like, man, like I kind of run away from, you know, and it's the nature of people. It's like, you know, you look at a gambler, right? And you would think a gambler loves to win, right? But in theory, in the reality of it is a gambler plays for when everything is on the line, right?
Right.
When the house is on the line, when the car is up, like the reason why is because that's when they can feel something. So they're addicted to feeling something, right? So now it's like, oh shit, like watching the game. It's almost like they playing for that feeling more than they are for a win. They happy to win, but like that void is being filled. So like for me, I've always felt voids so that I didn't necessarily have to feel. If that makes sense. I've always like it's like I could play the piano, I could make a song in like 10 minutes, right? I could do all these things that people are like, man, that's dope that you could do that. That's really cool. I wish I could do that. I'd do this. But it's like, for me, I'm doing things so that I don't have to feel pain or feel sorrow or feel hurt, feel regret or feel, you know, like I don't have to feel those things because I'm filling that void with something. But luckily, it's a healthy thing. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But it could be unhealthy for some people. It could be unhealthy for me. Like it's easy, but it's just like I'm so aware of like myself
Right.
that I know like I feel it in this. I know myself. I know what I can and can't do. I know where I can and can't go. But I think for me, I've always blocked that in a way. You know, or I feel it with comedy, or I feel it with something so that necessarily I don't have to feel, because I think when I do feel the downs, like sometimes if I book a project, I get low. But you know, there's an ancient African proverb that says the saddest day for the hyena is the day it eats, right? Because
Right.
it knows it has to eat again.
Uh,
So it's like I knew how much it took to get this.
right.
And at the same time, I know how much it's gonna take to get this again.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I've always stayed busy doing something to where I never really felt it. Like even when I came out here, right? I came out here on a bus. I would like wear sneakers and go to a park and blow whistles at kids trying to train them. Like I put an ad on Craigslist to train dogs. I've trained dogs. I've trained like I sold mattresses. I've literally made mattresses. I've done so much, but I'm feeling something. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? I'm doing something so that I don't have to feel down, because if I stop and I feel, I'm home. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm out of here. Like I don't even know if I'll be home. I'll probably be fucked up because like I know I'd be working and I'd be unhappy, but at least I stay doing something, you know?
Totally.
But like, yeah, so I think like for me, I stay doing something to where I don't necessarily feel those downs. Cause I know some people that be like, man, I'm just depressed on it. But it's like I load up my plate so much to where it's like I don't even know, like
I don't have time to really get into
yeah,
it.
I get depressed when I stop. You see what I'm saying? I get depressed when I don't do nothing, but I'm constantly, you know, and I think that's the thing is like some people come out and they do things for like the money, and they do things for, you know, because it's like I want to act, and if they're not acting, they're down. If they're not doing this, they're down. But for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm not acting, I'll draw. If I'm not drawn, I'll paint. If I'm not painting, I'll make a song. I'll play the piano. I'll learn a new song. I'll change the brakes on my car. I'll change the brakes on my truck. Like, I constantly do stuff because, like, I learned, like, YouTube is, like, amazing for me because I'll look up a tutorial. Like, I'll make a beat. I'll make a song. I'll fix a phone. I fix and repair phones. Bro, if you ever came to a house, you'd be like, yo, how many iPads and computers and phones do you have? And I'm like, oh yeah, it was broken. I fixed it. Or like if somebody has like a broken old iPhone or Beats headphones, I'll literally take it apart and fix it, or order like a screen or LED or a screen protector, or, you know, or a logic board, or I'll just change it all. And I got like, so people always like, bro, how do you do this? And I'm just like, that's the beautiful gift and the curse of something, you know? Because like we said, like I told you, every gain has a loss, you know? Every time you acquire something, like, you know, but I'm self-aware enough to understand, like, that's what I'm doing, you know? So.
That's dope. If you could project into your future life some of the great things that you would love to see happen, what would some of those things be moving forward?
If I could tell myself, or if I could look into the future?
Yeah, if you could draw it up perfectly, what happens next? Or what are some of the great things that do happen?
I have a lot, but I think some of the things that would be super fun for me, like that I would love to do, is like I would love to coach my kids in like little league sports. Like I've always thought that was like, that's like, to me, that's just like being a coach. Like I would come out and like help out with like the baseball kids, like just to help out in that way would be very fulfilling for me.
Absolutely.
It's crazy because like half of me is like I'm saying what I think is cool and what I would love to do. And half of me is like, that's lame. Don't say that. Don't say that. So like, I'm really trying to live in my subconscious right now. I'm really trying to be as like transparent without having like a filter. So like, if it sounds like it's whack, like it probably is.
It's a clean version of what you're thinking.
No, but it would be dope to like to just, you know, I think that I enjoy, that's the thing about life is like I really definitely do live like tomorrow's not promised and like I'm on borrowed time, to be honest with you. Like I've been in a lot of as much things of like I've seen and I've been through, like there's a lot of instances where I couldn't be here. And that's what I was telling you before. I was like, everything is a balance, because there's times where it's like, if I'm not scared of a lot, I get into a lot of situations that are pretty dangerous. I've been in some dangerous situations, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'm not really scared. But then looking back now, I'm thinking like, bro, what the fuck? like what? But so someone on the outside would be like, oh, this nigga Norm is tough. This nigga Norm is crazy. But it's just like, no, like survival is the number one instinct. Like I wasn't thinking, I didn't care about myself. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't crazy. I just didn't give a fuck about me. But
I was
you know what I'm saying? Like for real. It's just, if you don't care about you, you don't care about nobody else. You feel me? But it's just like I've been in a lot of situations to where it's a beauty that I made it this far in life. And just thinking about it now, it's just like I've been through a lot and I've seen a lot too. So I just think that like even like my next chapter is being able to help out in a way, and it's crazy because it's just like, bro, sometimes I feel like I'm on a ride and I'm not as in control of it as I want to be.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I've learned to like let go of that.
Yes.
In a way, to where it's like, because I know when I try to do things sometimes when I be like, yo, I'm in control, it always like, whenever I let go and let God guide everything, it works out almost better than I could have ever planned. Because let me tell you something. My 4-year plan was to get a car. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
That was my 4-year plan.
Right.
Like I was able to get that in like from LA with 2 years. I was able like a year and a half, 2, and that's why I say like God gave me more than I ever even, like I even wanted. And even the things that I feel like are mistakes or they don't go the right way, they end up going the right way. And I have no control over it. So like for me, sometimes it's hard for me to give like an answer on the future because whenever I'm like, this is what I want, it's like I try to control it and it never happens. But whenever I'm like, God, you know me, you know the desires of my heart, you made me. So
Right.
the things that I want, the things that I desire, the person I want to be, everything just fits perfectly. So like it's weird because I realized that because of that, and whenever I let go and let God, it's like He kind of guides me through everything, And I'm like, man, like this is way better than my idea. You know what I'm saying? My version was to wait 4 years and save up and get a car, and like I would like, it's like, yeah, I want this and this and this, and it's just like, I think that's why sometimes we get depressed and sad because we have these preconceived ideas on how things should be, and then it doesn't go like that. And then we're like, damn, why didn't it, I'm depressed because in my head it was supposed to be like this, but it's
Right.
not. But when you let go, God gives you that, and all this. Cause like, even like some of the things I'm doing, like I was like, bro, I never grew up knowing somebody that was on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even think that was possible, to be honest with you.
Right.
Like in a real conversation. Like I didn't, and as good as I was at basketball, I didn't even think that was real. Like I was just like, there's no way. And then you start playing against somebody that's really good, and you're like, man, I'm just as good as this person. Why did I ever? It's too late now. But
Right.
I think our belief system is something that's so powerful. You only go as far as you believe you can go. And sometimes we have to look at where our beliefs come from. Excuse me. We have to look at where our beliefs come from and fix that because I tell you what, something about me, like, confidence or belief in myself wasn't really there, but I know where that comes from. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was able to address it, and I was able to look at it and see it, the entirety of it, and then be like, okay, I get it. Because my mom never wanted to be no actress. So all my mom wanted to do was have kids. She had kids. She did a great job, great mom. But for me, saying like I wanted to do more, it wasn't that she didn't care or put my dreams down. It was that she just didn't know no better. She was just like, her upbringing was to have a job and that creates stability so you can have a good life. It wasn't, hey, I want to try this, I want to do this. It was none of that because it wasn't, every parent wants their kids to do good, wants them to have a good life. So it wasn't that necessarily, she didn't believe in me and don't believe in my dreams, but it was more so like, you never seen that before.
Yep.
Never seen somebody go after your dreams, like dreams. Wake up, it never was like that. But I had to address that and I had to understand that where I was like, okay, because I might not have confidence in myself because my mom was kind of, my upbringing. Your upbringing is a lot. Like those belief systems that you put on kids, there's life and death in the tongue. You get what I'm saying? So it's like what you speak into existence and what you speak over somebody's life is very powerful. So it was like, for me, just understanding something and being able to move forward with that was a game changer in my life.
Yep. That's nailed it.
Because people are like that all the time. They parent be like, why are you doing that? So now you grew up and you scared to make a mistake because you like, wait a minute, but well, you said you wanted the water, but you went and did this, and now you like growing up and you like, wait, do I like it? Do I do it?
Right.
I don't even believe in myself, do I?
And they don't understand where that comes from. You know what I mean? And it's like if you don't take it all the way back, you're never gonna be able to fix it.
Exactly, bro. You gotta really like go deep. Like I give you an example. Like I give you like an example of like really going deep, right? So and this is like I've never shared this before, but this is real, right? This is how deep I discovered with myself, right? Because I live in a deep deep world. And it's hard to have like real conversations that are as deep as, because it's like deep, right? So like even like understanding myself, right? When I see people, I give a lot of energy. Like, yo, right? I just give a lot of energy. And I've kind of been like that. But one of my friends was like, you kind of seem fake sometimes. Like, I don't know if you're being real. But the more I knew you, I was like, damn, you really are like that.
Mm.
That's crazy to me. And it was weird for me to be like, I don't understand how I seem fake. Like, you know?
Right.
So like who I am as a person, I like to discover something. Like I like to figure something out.
Right.
So I started going back looking at myself. Like, why do I do that? Right? My dad don't do that. My mom barely do that. Like, why do I do that? Right? But this is what you don't realize is like I have like crackhead uncles, just it is what it is. Family on drugs. But whenever they want something from my dad, they would give me a lot of energy to get something from my pops, right? Yeah. So it's like, Brandon, what's up, man? What you looking good with the Yankee at? Hey, Big Brandon, hey, what's up? Brandon with the Yankee. So like I was so used to having that energy and that rush and that feeling was so infectious to me. Like I loved it when my uncles would come around. I loved it, right? Dad, but like me as a kid not knowing any better, it was like the funnest, that energy, right?
Right.
So I would try to emulate that. But the thing about this is this: people that do that can't be around you too long, right? You know why? Because it's like if I stay around you, you're gonna see who I really am.
Yeah.
I don't want you to see who I really am. So I'm gonna give you that energy. All right now, all right. It's like keep going. So for me, I would give energy and then I would stay. And it was like, all right. This just got weird, right? But see, what I'm doing is I'm reflective and I'm giving somebody energy of something that I would get. But the reason why it seemed like you wanted something from me, because I'm giving off energy of somebody that wanted something from somebody. You see what I'm saying?
Totally.
So I'm doing it, but I'm not conscious enough of what I'm doing. I'm just doing it, but I'm not even conscious of why I'm doing it. Totally. So now once I know why I'm doing it, now I know how to do it. I know when to do it. I know like, okay, I can't give somebody a lot of energy. They really don't, I can't be like, because now it's like, okay, but like now I know how to like, gaze so I can still give you that energy. Like, it's good to see you, but now I know you. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, oh, you get to see me because you know me. It ain't, just anybody. But like, I'm trying to revert information, but that's because you start digging into yourself. You start digging into your psyche. You see what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. You know how to put yourself in positions to succeed. Because see, a lot of people don't know what they're good at. They don't even know what they're bad at. But they never really discover themselves to even put themselves in a position to succeed. I'm gonna tell you, my dad told me this one thing about entertainment, right? When I was telling my dad once about getting lucky. And this was a game changer for me. Because I told my dad, I was like, man, I'm trying to get into acting, but I just gotta get lucky. I just gotta get lucky. And my dad said, hey, do you think if I ask you to make a half-court shot, is that luck? And I was like, yeah. He said, what about a layup? I was like, no, it's not really lucky if I make a layup. And he said, but it's lucky if you make a half-court shot. And I was like, yeah, if I make the shot, I guess I got lucky. He said, so where does luck end and where does luck begin? And I was like, so I don't really, I don't know. Maybe he said, so what happens is it's not luck because you're trying to do it. So it's not luck because you're trying to do it. Your point is to make it back. So it's not luck. He said, so what happens is the further you step away from the basket, the lower your percentages of making that shot, right? So the key isn't to get lucky. The key is to put yourself in a position where you have a high percentage of your outcome. You see what I'm saying? So instead of because you see it all the time, you see some good like you could really shoot, but you shooting from the other side of the court. Why am I missing? It's not that you're not working on your jump shot. It's not that the person doesn't have a better jump shot than you. It's just that they're in a better position than you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the key is to put yourself in a position where you have a high percentage of your outcome.
Right.
And that to me was a game changer.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's really good.
You know, that really put a lot of things in perspective to where I started looking more so at positioning than just my talent. Because so many of us have this big airplane, but this very small runway. So it's like, how does it take off, right?
Right.
So sometimes we got to work on that instead of, you know, the big thing. Because I think that to me was a game changer. The other game changer to me was like freshman year of high school when I realized 20 points is just 10 baskets. Like, right, just understanding how to go. I was like, man, I should have been killing, you know what I'm saying? And I did, but it was a little late. But I was just like, I was just like, all I need to do is make five baskets, you know. But yeah, that was kind of like a big game changer within like acting and career wise, is just putting myself in a position, and then also narrating like the identity of what I want to do, you know? So.
Totally. I love it. I love it. I think that's all very much a profound thought. That sometimes I think people know, but when you hear it just a little bit different, it can resonate. You know what I mean? Where sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I knew that, but I wasn't applying it. And I think a lot of times people get a lot of information, but they don't apply it. So that makes it.
Yeah.
So what? You know, here's your Snapple fact of the day. But you know, it can have you put it on your life. So I love it. If what are your, I know I said I was gonna take a piece from earlier, but what are your last words for the people? What do you want what do you want your closing message to be?
I've always thought this was like deep and always really relevant, was like, whenever you search for God, usually you find yourself. But whenever you search for yourself, usually you find God. And I've always thought that was like such a deep quote to me, because there's so many people looking for things instead of like discovering who they are. And I've always felt like once you discover who you are, it brings you closer to God. But I've always felt that self-discovery is one of the most important things that we can do. You know, we're born into this system. We're born into, you know, you go to school and we're taught like, you know, everyone wants to try to fit into something, right? And be a part of something. But like sometimes we don't necessarily look at ourselves, because once you look at yourself, you'll see what you're good at, what you're bad at. You can take advantage of it and use it to be successful, because we're all different. We're all different. I think that is one of the most important things, that because there's been a lot of times like certain areas where I failed was because I wasn't being me. There's so many areas where I've won, and if I look back, it was because I was always me. Majority of my life, I've always been me. But there's been times where I've tried to like, you know, fit in, you know, like I'm like, oh, let me try, oh, yeah, I guess this. And I'm just like, man, this is, but anytime I did what I was doing, people was like, man, bro, man, I knew I should have wore something nice. And I'm just like, oh, I thought I was overdressed. But now they looking at me like, damn, I need a suit like that. Or I did. But like, it was always because I just did what I felt I wanted to do. And I think, you know, I picked up on that at a really early age. I was thankful, you know, like I was able to pick that up, but I also had like good guidance. You know, some people don't really have guidance like that. You know, some people don't, you know, like you ever meet someone and it's like, how you have all the jokes? And you find out they got an older brother and it's like they putting them on game. And you're like, damn, I wish I had an older brother, because like, you know, all the cool styles, you know what I'm saying? So like I think I was fortunate and I was blessed enough to have a dad that kind of put me on a lot of game early. And like you said, I was able to retain information to where I was like, man, I'm gonna try this. And I guarantee you everybody gonna like, but it's just like I had a father that kind of was like, you know, supportive and like, yeah, man, you good at that, you know, or you got a good jump shot, you know what I'm saying? like, so I just always kind of, but some people, you know, some people don't have that, you know, and I'm aware enough to see that and understand that. But I think self-discovery and realizing like what you are is a game changer.
Absolutely.
Like anybody that's even trying to get into like the career of like acting and stuff, the one thing like we sometimes talk about the negatives to it, where it's like, it's tough, it's hard, the audition process feels fake. I hate auditioning, and they say you gotta love it. I don't.
Right.
And that's just me living in my truth. Like I don't like it. I feel like I'm like I'm so good at being present. It's so hard for me not to be. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm so like here, right? That if it's like fake, it's hard for me, right? Right. It is. So, but this is what I tell people, because so many people are like, man, if you don't like, you gotta learn to love it. No. You have to learn how to beat it. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to learn how to love it. You don't need to learn how to love it. You just have to learn how to get through it so that you can get the job done. Because so many of us get focused on how to do something, we forget what needs to be done. You get what I'm saying? So like my thought process is like, bro, I can act and I'm good and I don't like auditioning. So like I have to look at it to where it's like, maybe I have to create my own content. Maybe I have to figure out how to make it seem like, like figure out tricks that I can do so that I can get past this level, because I'm not good at taking tests. You see what I'm saying? I have test anxiety. So like whenever I had to take tests, I literally would have to go in another room because like there was one point where I was failing in school, right? Mm-hmm. And it was because I had test anxiety. I didn't even know what this was, but like I get a test and she's like, we have a test. And I was just like, I just can do nothing. And then my teacher was like, Norman, you're so smart. You're like one of the smartest people. Like, how do you turn in this shit? And I'm just like, I don't know. My teacher was just shocked. And I'm glad that I had a teacher that did this, because she was just like, I have no idea how you're like the smartest kid in our school, but when it comes to test time, you fail with flying colors. Like it almost looks fake. Like I almost thought you didn't give this. So they would send me to like this room and I was able to take tests. They would even ask me like, what is this and this? And I was like, oh, that's what this means, this. And they're like, oh, great, But like, that was the only way I could take tests. Wow. So I would go with these little special kids or whatever, and they were cool as shit. We was having fun. I learned every magic trick, right? But dude, I learned every magic trick in special ed, bro. I knew it all, bro. I knew every magic trick, bro. Dude, I know magic to this day like no other, because I was in special ed. All they did was magic tricks in there, bro. We would do all types of stuff. But like, contrary, somebody would be like, oh, you in the special classes, but I wasn't never in no classes. I would just go there when I had to take a test, because it was a smaller room. The lady, the special ed teacher could work with me or whatever, take a test. So it wasn't like I was dumb or anything like that, but it was just like my anxiety. I didn't know that it was anxiety. I just knew when it came down to tests and there's a time and it's like, go, I would just like, I would freeze up. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like but we found a way to get through it. So my thing is, but the other thing too that kind of cripples me with that too is because I would do that when it comes to auditioning, there is no doing that anymore. So it's just kind of like, I gotta face that now. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like now it's like I'm like, fuck. Like even like if it's an audition in my lines and stuff like that, like I'm a lot better, but naturally, hey Amber, that's one of my sisters. So like I would be like, oh no. So like even when I get lines in audition, I'm kind of like, because it's the same thing. Right. It feels like a test. You see what I'm saying? Right. And I'm not getting a test, but when it comes to the situation to doing it, it's clockwork. Right. When it comes to feeling like a test, like even on set, it doesn't feel like a test. So it's easy because but you know what? I've asked actors that, and there's some actors that are amazing on set and horrible at audition. And then there's actors that can audition their ass off, and they get on set and they like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? Right? So, but the key is to just kind of figure out like, what works for you and how to get around it or how to figure out a way to get the job done, you know? So like for me, creating content is fun and it's easy, but it also gives me a chance to show off what I can do without feeling like that type of anxiety or beating that type of anxiety. Because people don't really talk about that shit. You know what I'm saying? People, you know, had test anxiety or get anxiety in the room. Like, people don't say that shit. That shit sounds like corny. That shit sounds like you suck, you're whack. Like, you know, like that's just what it sounds like. But it's the harsh reality is like we all have things that we struggle with. We all have things that we have to grow from or we're trying to get better at. And sometimes we don't. We try to get rid of them instead of like figure out how to beat them. You know?
Yeah. I have issues with failure.
Got you.
Where because I've had success in certain aspects, people see me away and I enjoy being seen in that way. So I won't do things to jeopardize that the perception.
Okay.
And as I was building the image, you know what I mean? It was just like forward progress. And then when I got to the place, I was like, okay, well now what do we, similar to what you were saying earlier about like, not, when you don't have anything, you're dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, let's do it. But when you have stuff, then you're afraid to lose it. You know, so I would be in acting class and I'd be afraid to lose how good of an actor people think I am. So I'm not trying anymore. I'm not risking anymore. I'm not doing the things that got me to the place because I'm like, you guys already know I'm good. So let's just keep that image. And I can't turn in a bad performance because I'm afraid you're going to think I'm bad.
Wow, that's deep.
You know what I mean?
You're a deep guy. You see what I'm saying? Like we connect because it's like that's part of self-discovery.
Yeah.
That's not easy for somebody to talk about.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's maybe like 6 months old that I kind of figured it out because I'm like, man, like why, you know, just, you know, as you kind of look at like certain things and why they aren't exactly moving, and I'm like, man, I'm really good at like a bunch of stuff, but why am I not really doing much of it? You know what I mean? Or why am I not doing as much as other people? And it's not necessarily a comparison thing, but it's just the idea of like, okay, so what is it? Why is this working for them? And why is this working for them? And then it's like, oh, because you're trying to maintain you know what I mean? Like you're trying to maintain this idea, or like you heard this and you heard this and you want these people, this is good enough for these people to remember you by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, let's not mess this up. Let's maintain you feel this way about me. Yeah. And let's stop right here. Boom.
Right.
But there's still so much more to get to. Yeah. But at this particular moment, you're slightly satisfied with the reviews. So you're like, okay, well, maybe let's just stop right here. And then I'm just going to just try to keep giving you the same thing. And it's like, you can only eat spaghetti so many days in a row. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just kind of like, so I was like, dang, I'm really serving up this spaghetti. That's crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, man, it's been a really great year and a half of just growing, man. And growing doesn't always feel good, but like when you get on the other side of it, you realize how necessary it is. Yeah, right. To push yourself into growth and to really, battle yourself and battle, what you personally are dealing with, Yeah,
you're right.
So that's really been the key for me, and just kind of trying to my test anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have. We all dealing with some. We all balance some. There's actors I know that are amazing. They're dyslexic, and they listen to their tapes, and that's how they process their information. But it's just like that's the thing is like we all have something, but we all find a way to win or beat it. That's what a winner does is we find a way to overcome something, right? And everyone has something, but it's just like finding a way to overcome it. Yep. Also knowing that you have it, accepting it, and then figuring out, okay, how do I beat this? Because there's some people that's like, even within the Black community, but ain't nothing wrong with Junior. And it's like, something wrong with Junior. Junior ran into the wall. Oh, Junior just playing. Nobody play like that, because we don't want to admit like someone needs help or something, even when I'm going to take a test, my mom's like, you just ain't paying attention. It was almost like, it's my fault. And I'm like, well, I'm able to pass. When I go to that little class, I'm able to get the job done. But it was just like, it wasn't looked at like that. It was like, that's not a good thing.
Right.
And at the time, like looking back, I'm like, man, I was like, no, I don't need to go to that. But like, it helped me, you know, helped me get it done. But like, you know, just sometimes we just don't really address the reality of the situation to really make a change, you know?
Totally. I love it, bro. Well, we did it today.
No, I ain't gonna let you get off. So like,
This has been epic.
Hey, I gotta go. Hey, no. But the thing is look, when two people, wait. God won't bring you to it if he can't bring you through it, you know?